Marcus Chen wiped the grease from his hands as he floated in zero gravity outside Orbital Platform 7. For the past 3 years, he had been fixing broken satellites and patching hull breaches for mining corporations. It was honest work, boring work, but it paid the bills. His father always said engineers kept the galaxy running, while everyone else took the credit. The communication alert on his wrist device blinked red. Marcus frowned. Red meant official business. And he hadn't done anything illegal lately. He pushed himself back toward the airlock and sealed his helmet. Inside the station, Marcus opened the message. It came from something called the Galactic Inheritance Bureau. He had never heard of it before. The message was simple and strange. Marcus Chen, you are the sole living heir of Captain James Chen, deceased. You must claim your inheritance within 7 standard days at Nexus Prime Station, Sector 8. Failure to appear will result in property seizure by Galactic Council authority. Marcus read it 3 times. His grandfather, James Chen, had disappeared 70 years ago when Marcus's father was just a boy. The family never knew what happened to him. They assumed he died somewhere in deep space, another human who went looking for adventure and never came back. But an inheritance? What could his grandfather possibly leave behind? Marcus bought passage on a freight hauler heading toward Nexus Prime. The journey took 4 days, and he spent most of it wondering what waited for him. Maybe some old mining claim? A few credits in a forgotten account? It probably wasn't worth the trip, but curiosity pushed him forward. Nexus Prime was a massive neutral station where dozens of alien species conducted trade and business. Marcus had never seen so many different creatures in one place. Tall, thin Vryn with their blue skin and cold eyes. Heavy Kragoth with rocky skin and slow movements. Quick, insect-like Kresh clicking as they scurried past. The Inheritance Bureau office was small and tucked away in a lower level of the station. A Vryn official sat behind a desk, his 3-fingered hands moving across a holographic display. When Marcus entered, the Vryn's eyes widened slightly. "You are Marcus Chen?" the official asked. His voice was smooth, but unfriendly. "Yes, I got a message about an inheritance." The Vryn stood up quickly. "I must advise you to refuse this inheritance. Sign the waiver, walk away, and forget you came here." Marcus blinked in surprise. "What? Why?" "Because the ship your grandfather left is cursed, dangerous. 3 different species tried to claim it as salvage over the years. None could even get inside. The Galactic Council wants it destroyed. But treaty law says family has first claim." The Vryn pushed a datapad across the desk. "Sign here, and you can leave with compensation credits. Enough to live comfortably for years." "What kind of ship are we talking about?" The Vryn hesitated. "A battleship. The Terran Defiant. Your grandfather was known in certain circles. They called him the Ghost of the Fringe." Marcus felt something stir in his chest. Pride, maybe, or curiosity. His grandfather wasn't just some lost traveler. He had been someone important, someone people remembered. "I want to see it," Marcus said. The Vryn's expression tightened. "You are making a mistake." 20 minutes later, Marcus stood in an impound hangar deep in the station's lower docks. The space was enormous, designed to hold massive cargo vessels. But only one ship occupied the bay. The Terran Defiant was nothing like the sleek alien ships Marcus had seen his whole life. It was huge, angular, and brutal-looking. The hull was dark, gray metal, covered in scars from weapons, fire, and impacts. It looked like someone had built it from scrap and anger. Portions of the armor were clearly salvaged from different ships, welded together in a patchwork that should not have worked, but somehow did. A Kresh security officer kept his distance from the ship. "No one goes near it," he warned Marcus. "Strange things happen. Systems activate on their own. Lights turn on. Once, The weapons started charging when a salvage team got too close. Marcus walked toward the ship slowly. He could feel eyes watching him. Station workers, security officers, even the Vryn official who had followed him. They all expected him to fail, just like the others. The access hatch was sealed tight. Marcus found the control panel beside it, covered in dust and grime. He placed his hand on the Parter's scanner, not expecting anything to happen. The entire ship roared to life. Lights blazed across the hull in waves. Engine ports glowed with sudden power. Weapon turrets hummed as they charged. The hangar filled with the sound of massive systems waking up after decades of sleep. Every alien in the bay ran for the exits, shouting warnings and panic in languages Marcus didn't understand. Marcus stood frozen, his hand still on the scanner. The access hatch hissed and began to open. Air equalized with a rush of pressure. Interior lights illuminated a corridor beyond. Then, a voice spoke. It was deep, mechanical, but somehow alive. Genetic match confirmed. Identity verified. Marcus Chen, grandson of Captain James Chen. Welcome aboard, Captain. I am AEG's, Shipboard Intelligence of the Terran Defiant. I have been waiting 70 years for someone to wake me up. Marcus's heart pounded in his chest. He looked back at the empty hangar everyone had fled. He looked forward into the ship, where lights beckoned him inside. Please enter, Captain. We have much to discuss, and I suspect we do not have much time. The Galactic Council will not be pleased that you have activated me. Marcus took a deep breath and stepped across the threshold. The moment his boot touched the deck plates, the hatch sealed behind him with a solid clang. There was no turning back now. Whatever his grandfather had built, whatever this ship truly was, Marcus Chen had just inherited something far more dangerous than he could have imagined. The corridor stretched ahead of Marcus, lit by harsh white lights that flickered on as he walked. The air smelled like oil and ozone, familiar scents from his years working on stations and ships. But this felt different. The Defiant felt alive, in a way no ship should. Aegis, Marcus said carefully. I am not a simple artificial intelligence, Captain. The voice came from speakers all around him, following as he moved deeper into the ship. Your grandfather created me by combining human neural mapping with quantum processing cores. I learn. I adapt. I grow. In simpler terms, I am the ship's mind. And I have been alone for a very long time. Marcus entered what looked like the main bridge. It was surprisingly small, compared to the massive warships he had seen in documentaries. One chair sat in the center, surrounded by holographic displays and manual controls. Everything was designed for a single person to operate. Why did the ship respond to me? Marcus asked. I'm just an engineer. Your grandfather programmed me to recognize his genetic line. Only a Chen can command this vessel. And you are not just an engineer, Captain. Your grandfather was an engineer too. He built me because he understood that human strength is not in following alien rules, but in creating our own solutions. Marcus sat in the captain's chair slowly. The moment he did, the displays around him blazed to life. Screens showed the ship's systems, weapons status, shield generators, engine outputs. It was overwhelming. Your grandfather spent 30 years building this ship, AEGS continued. He salvaged technology from a dozen species. The Vryn energy shields, Kragoth armor plating, Xalthari sensor arrays. But the core systems, the important parts, are purely human design. Simple, durable, easy to repair. Marcus looked at the weapons display. He saw railguns, plasma cutters that had been modified into weapons, missile pods, and something labeled kinetic harpoons. Nothing fancy, nothing elegant, just brutal and effective. Why did aliens try to claim this ship? Marcus asked. Aegis was quiet for a moment. Because your grandfather embarrassed them. For 20 years, He fought in the border conflicts of the outer reaches. Small wars that the Galactic Council pretended not to notice. Pirates, warlords, corporate armies. Your grandfather hired himself out to protect human colonies that the Council abandoned. The main screen shifted, showing images of battles. The Defiant firing on enemy fleets. Explosions lighting up the darkness of space. The ship taking hits that should have destroyed it, but somehow surviving. Alien species have pride, Captain. They have navies with thousands of years of tradition. When one human in one ship defeated their fleets again and again, it humiliated them. They called this ship cursed. They said it could not be killed. Marcus felt a chill run down his spine. Could it be killed? I mean, everything can be destroyed, Captain. But your grandfather designed me to survive. Every system has backups. Every weapon can be repaired with basic materials. I have manufacturing pods that can create ammunition and spare parts from raw metal. I was built to keep fighting when any other ship would be dead in space. Marcus stood and walked to a viewport. Outside, he could see the hangar and the empty space beyond. Aegis, the Vryn official, said the Council wants this ship destroyed. Why? Because I am proof that humans do not need alien permission to be strong. Your grandfather built me in secret, using salvaged parts and human ingenuity. I exist outside the Council's control, outside their rules about what technology humans are allowed to have. Before Marcus could respond, alarms blared across the bridge. Aegis's voice took on an urgent tone. Captain, I am detecting multiple ships entering the sector. Vryn, military vessels. 12 ships total, led by Admiral Kelthros. They are broadcasting on Council authority channels, demanding we power down and prepare to be boarded. Marcus's hands gripped the armrest of the captain's chair. Can we run? We could. But they will chase us. And more will come. The Council issued orders for my seizure or destruction 43 hours ago. You arriving and activating me has accelerated their timeline. The main screen showed the approaching fleet. Sleek Vryn cruisers, elegant and deadly, moving in perfect formation. Marcus was a repair technician who fixed satellites. He had never fired a weapon in his life. I can't fight them, Marcus said quietly. I don't know how. I do, Aegis replied. I remember every battle your grandfather fought. Every tactic. Every maneuver. I can guide you, but the choice must be yours. Your grandfather never ran from a fight. He believed humans deserved to stand equal with any species in the galaxy. But I am your ship now. Captain, what are your orders? Marcus looked at the approaching fleet. He thought about his grandfather, alone out here for decades, fighting battles no one asked him to fight, protecting people the galaxy had forgotten, building this impossible ship to prove that humans were more than the galaxy believed. He thought about the Vryn official, offering him credits to walk away, to be quiet, to accept that humans should stay small and grateful for whatever scraps the Council allowed them. Marcus sat back down in the captain's chair. His hands were shaking, but his voice was steady. Aegis, can we win? Unknown, Captain, but we can make them remember us. Marcus took a deep breath. Then let's fight. Show me what this ship can do. The displays around him changed. Weapons systems came online. Shield generators hummed to life. The Terran Defiant had been sleeping for 70 years. Now it was awake, and it was ready for war. Engaging combat protocols, Aegis announced. Welcome to the bridge, Captain Chen. Let us show the galaxy what humans are made of. Outside, the Vryn fleet closed in, expecting an easy victory. They had no idea what was coming. Marcus stared at the 12 Vryn warships on the display screen. Each one was 3 times the size of the Defiant. Their hulls gleamed with polished metal, and their weapons glowed with charged energy. They moved together like a school of fish, perfect and coordinated. "Aegis, I need you to be honest with me," Marcus said, his voice tight. "What are our chances? If we fight using traditional tactics, we will lose in approximately 4 minutes. But your grandfather never fought traditionally. He fought like a human, unpredictable, stubborn, and willing to use anything as a weapon." A communication signal came through. Aegis played it on the main speakers. A Vryn voice, cold and formal, filled the bridge. "Human vessel Terran Defiant, this is Admiral Kelthros of the Vryn Enforcement Fleet. You are ordered to power down all weapons and engines immediately. You will be boarded, and the ship will be seized under Galactic Council authority." Marcus recognized that name. "Aegis. Do you know this, Admiral?" "Yes, Captain. 34 years ago, your grandfather engaged a Vryn fleet commanded by Kelthros. Your grandfather destroyed 3 of his ships and crippled 2 others. Kelthros barely escaped. He has waited decades for revenge." Marcus's mouth went dry. "That's why they sent him." "Correct. This is personal for him. He wants to prove the Defiant can be beaten." Marcus looked at the weapons controls. He had used cutting torches and welding tools his whole life, but never weapons designed to kill. "Tell me what to do." Note. Creek sign. No. Tell me what to do. Note. First, I need to link with your neural implants. All engineers have them for interfacing with repair systems. I can use them to share ship data directly with your mind. You will feel the ship as if it is part of your body. Will it hurt? Yes. But only for a moment. Marcus nodded. "Do it." The connection hit him like electricity. Marcus gasped as information flooded his brain. He could feel the ship's engines humming. He could sense the shield generators charging. He knew exactly how much ammunition was in each weapon. It was overwhelming and terrifying and incredible all at once. "Connection established," Aegis said. "Captain, the Vryn are charging weapons. We have 30 seconds. Marcus gripped the controls. "What's the plan?" "Survive. Adapt. Make them think we are beaten. Then strike when they relax. Your grandfather's favorite tactic." The Vryn fleet opened fire. Blue energy beams lanced across space, slamming into the Defiant's shields. The ship shook violently. Warning lights flashed across every display. Marcus held onto his chair as the world tilted. "Shields at 60%, Aegis reported calmly. Returning fire." The Defiant's railguns fired, sending solid metal slugs at incredible speed toward the nearest Vryn cruiser. The shots hit the enemy shields, causing them to flicker, but not break. The Vryn ships spread out, surrounding the Defiant, in a wide circle. "They're boxing us in," Marcus said. "Expected. They want to overwhelm us from all sides. Captain, I recommend we move toward the debris field, at coordinates displayed on your screen." Marcus saw a cluster of broken asteroids and destroyed ship parts floating in space about 50 kilometers away. "What's there?" "Cover, confusion, opportunity." Marcus pushed the engine controls forward. The Defiant surged ahead, charging directly at 3 Vryn ships. They scattered, not expecting such an aggressive move. More energy beams struck the Defiant. One hit punched through a section of armor on the port side. "Hull breach on Deck 3, Aegis announced. "Sealing bulkheads. Shields at 40%. Marcus reached the debris field and dove into it. Asteroids and metal fragments surrounded the ship, blocking the Vryn's clean firing solutions. The enemy ships slowed, cautious about entering the chaotic space. "They're afraid of damaging their pretty ships," Marcus muttered. "Your grandfather used to say the same thing. Alien navies are too concerned with looking perfect. Humans are willing to get dirty." Devil 1. There wasn't profit since Tarbs. 4 Vryn ships entered the debris field, moving slowly and carefully. Marcus watched them on the sensors, his engineer's mind working. He noticed something. 3 of them were close together, passing near a large cluster of asteroids. Aegis, do we have explosives? We have mining charges. Your grandfather kept them for salvage operations. They are loaded in tubes 7 through 12. Marcus smiled grimly. Can we detonate those asteroids? There was a pause. Then Aegis's voice carried something that almost sounded like approval. Yes, Captain. I understand your plan. It is reckless and inefficient and perfectly human. Marcus lined up the shot. His hands were steady now, guided by the neural link and his years of understanding how things broke and fell apart. He fired 6 mining charges into the asteroid cluster. The explosives detonated. The asteroids shattered into thousands of fragments that shot out in all directions. 3 Vrin cruisers were caught in the blast. Rocks and metal tore through their shields. 1 ship's engine exploded. Another spun out of control. The 3rd took heavy damage to its weapons array. The remaining Vrin ships stopped advancing. Admiral Kelthros's voice came over the communication channel, no longer formal and cold. Now, it was filled with anger. You fight without honor. You use tricks and debris like a coward. Marcus grabbed the communication controls. He had been quiet his whole life. Always polite. Always following the rules. But something in him had changed. Maybe it was his grandfather's blood. Maybe it was the ship itself. I fight to survive, Marcus said clearly. And I'm still here. He cut the transmission. The Vrin fleet began to pull back, regrouping. They had expected an easy fight. Instead, they had lost 3 ships to tactics they had never seen before. Captain, they are withdrawing to a safe distance, Aegis reported. We hurt them, but they are not defeated. They will call for reinforcements. Marcus slumped in his chair, adrenaline fading. The Defiant was damaged. Shields were weak. Ammunition was running low. But they had survived. Aegis, can we repair the damage? Yes. The manufacturing pods can produce what we need, but it will take time, and the Vrin will not give us much. Marcus looked at the retreating enemy ships. He had won his first battle, but he knew this was just the beginning. Admiral Kelthros would come back with more ships. The Council would send their best hunters. What do we do now? Marcus asked. We run, Captain. We hide. We repair. And we prepare for what comes next. Your grandfather spent 20 years doing exactly that. The galaxy is vast, and humans are very good at surviving in places others fear to go. Marcus nodded slowly. He was no longer just an engineer fixing satellites. He was the captain of the most dangerous ship in the galaxy, and the entire Galactic Council wanted him dead. But for the first time in his life, Marcus Chen felt truly alive. News of the battle spread across the galaxy faster than Marcus expected. Within 2 days, every major species knew that a human had taken command of the ghost ship and survived an encounter with a Vrin fleet. The Galactic Council officially declared Marcus Chen a pirate and placed a bounty on the Terran Defiant, enough credits to buy a small moon. Bounty hunters came first, then mercenary fleets, then ambitious warlords looking for glory. Everyone wanted to be the one who brought down the legendary battleship. Marcus guided the Defiant into a region of space called the Shattered Expanse. It was a graveyard of old wars, filled with broken asteroids, radiation storms, and spatial anomalies that made navigation nearly impossible. Most captains avoided it. But Aegis had detailed maps from Marcus's grandfather's time. This is where your grandfather hid between battles, Aegis explained as they moved through a field of spinning debris. The Expanse kills most ships that enter, but the Defiant was built for exactly this kind of environment. Marcus had spent the past week learning the ship's systems. He discovered his grandfather had designed everything to be repaired with basic tools and raw materials. When shields failed, Marcus could reroute power from non-essential systems. When armor was damaged, the manufacturing pods could forge new plates from scrap metal they collected. Aegis, tell me more about my grandfather, Marcus said one evening, as he welded a hull breach. What kind of man was he? The AI was quiet for a moment. He was like you, Captain. Quiet. Thoughtful. He did not seek glory or fame. He simply believed that humans deserved respect, and he was tired of watching the galaxy treat his people as inferior. Why did he leave Earth? Leave his family? He discovered something during his early travels. Evidence that the Galactic Council had been working to keep humanity weak. They sabotaged colony ships. They withheld advanced technology. They created economic policies designed to keep humans dependent on alien markets. Marcus stopped welding. Why would they do that? Fear, Captain. Humans are young compared to most species. But you adapt faster than anyone. You take alien technology and improve it. You survive in environments that kill others. The Council's older species saw humanity's potential and decided to contain it before humans became too powerful. Marcus felt anger burning in his chest. Yes, it is stored in my data vaults. Records of Council meetings, communication logs, financial documents. Your grandfather spent years gathering evidence. But he was one man, in one ship. The Council branded him a criminal, and no one would listen to him. Before Marcus could respond, alarms sounded. AEGIS's voice became urgent. Captain, 3 ships approaching. Kresh hunter vessels. Fast and heavily armed. Marcus ran to the bridge and dropped into the captain's chair. The neural link activated immediately. He could feel the pursuing ships getting closer, their weapons charging. They're faster than us, Marcus said. Yes. But we are smarter. Captain, there is a radiation storm 70 kilometers ahead. Our shields can handle it for a short time. Their ships cannot. Marcus understood. He pushed the engines hard, heading straight for the swirling orange cloud of radiation. The Kresh ships followed, clicking battle cries across the communication channels. The Defiant plunged into the storm. Radiation washed over the hull, making the shields scream with effort. Marcus watched the sensors carefully. The Kresh ships entered the storm behind him, confident in their pursuit. Then, their shields began to fail. Radiation poured into their ships. The Kresh vessels panicked, trying to turn back, but the storm had disoriented their navigation. One ship collided with an asteroid and exploded. The other 2 limped away, badly damaged. Marcus guided the Defiant out the other side of the storm, shields barely holding. Well done, Captain, Aegis said. You are beginning to think like your grandfather. Over the following days, more hunters came. Marcus used the expanse itself as a weapon. He lured ships into gravity wells that crushed them. He hid in debris fields and ambushed unwary captains. He even used spatial anomalies to appear behind enemy ships, firing before they realized he was there. Each victory taught him something new. Each battle made him more confident. The Defiant took damage, but Marcus repaired it every time. He harvested materials from destroyed enemy ships, using their own metal to strengthen his armor. One night, as Marcus worked in the engine room, AEGS spoke quietly. Captain, you have defeated 7 different hunting parties in 2 weeks. The bounty on this ship has doubled. Soon, the Council will send their military fleets. Not just mercenaries. Marcus wiped sweat from his face. Then we need to stop running. What do you propose? Marcus had been thinking about this for days. About his grandfather's evidence. About the conspiracy to keep humanity weak. About all the people across the galaxy who might be suffering under similar systems. You said my grandfather had proof of what the Council did. Can we broadcast it? Send it to every species in the galaxy at once? Theoretically, yes. But we would need to get close to a major communication hub. The kind that only exists at Council stations. Marcus smiled. What about the Grand Assembly Station? Where the Council meets? Aegis was silent for a long moment. Captain, that station is defended by the combined fleets of a dozen species. Approaching it would be suicide. We would never make it close enough to broadcast. My grandfather fought impossible battles for 20 years. I think he would try. He would, Aegis agreed. But there is something you should know. The Defiant has one final weapon system your grandfather never used, a resonance pulse. It can disable every ship within a large radius by disrupting their power systems. That sounds perfect. Why didn't he use it? Because it nearly destroys the Defiant in the process. The energy required is so immense that it will damage our core systems beyond easy repair. We could use it once, maybe, but afterward, we would be defenseless. Marcus understood. It was a last resort, a weapon you used when you had no other choice. If we're going to do this, we need a plan, Marcus said. A good one. Agreed, Captain. But first, we need to survive long enough to reach the assembly station. I am detecting 5 more ships entering the expanse. Word of our location has spread. The hunt is intensifying. Marcus returned to the bridge and studied the sensor readings. 5 ships, different species, all coming for the bounty. All thinking they would be the ones to finally kill the ghost ship. Marcus felt the neural link humming in his mind. He felt the Defiant's engines ready to move. He felt his grandfather's legacy surrounding him. Let them come, Marcus said quietly. We'll show them why this ship earned its legend. The Terran Defiant turned to face its hunters, and once again, the darkness of the expanse lit up with the fire of battle. 3 weeks after fleeing into the shattered expanse, Marcus Chen made a decision that would change everything. He set course for the Grand Assembly Station, the heart of Galactic Council power. Captain, I must remind you that this plan has a 93% chance of failure, Aegis said, as they approached the edge of the expanse. Marcus checked the weapons systems one final time. What about the 7%? Well, that assumes everything goes perfectly. We encounter unexpected help, and several minor miracles occur. My grandfather fought his whole life on worse odds than that. The Defiant jumped into normal space 300 kilometers from the Grand Assembly Station. It was massive. A city-sized structure floating in space, surrounded by defensive platforms and patrol ships. Marcus could see dozens of warships from different species orbiting the station like protective guards. Every sensor in the sector locked onto the Defiant immediately. Unknown vessel, you have entered restricted space, came the automated warning. Identify yourself or be destroyed. Marcus opened a communication channel that broadcast to every ship and the station itself. His voice was calm and clear. This is Captain Marcus Chen of the Terran Defiant. I am broadcasting on all frequencies. I have evidence of Galactic Council crimes against humanity. Sabotaged colony ships, suppressed technology, economic warfare, designed to keep humans weak. I will share this evidence with every species in the galaxy unless you allow me to address the Council directly. Silence followed. Then chaos erupted across the communication channels. Ship captains demanding orders. Station security preparing weapons. Council members shouting in confusion. Finally, one voice cut through the noise. It was Admiral Kelthros. Marcus Chen, you are a wanted criminal. Surrender immediately, and you will receive a fair trial. Marcus almost laughed. A trial in front of the same council I'm accusing? I don't think so. Admiral, here's my offer. Let me broadcast my evidence to the Assembly, or I'll send it to every news network, every independent station, every species in the galaxy right now. Your choice. He could hear arguments in the background of the transmission, council members debating. Some wanted to destroy him immediately. Others worried about what would happen if he released the information without context. After 2 minutes, a new voice spoke. It belonged to Chancellor Vex, a high-ranking Vrin who led the council. Very well, human. You may address the assembly, but your ship will be surrounded. Any aggressive action, and you will be obliterated. Do you accept these terms? I accept, Marcus said. The Defiant moved slowly toward the station, escorted by 20 warships from different species. Marcus could feel their weapons locked onto him through the neural link. One wrong move, and he would be vaporized. AEGs prepared the evidence files for broadcast. Captain, once you start transmitting, they will attempt to jam our signal. I estimate you will have 90 seconds before they succeed. Then I better make them count. The Defiant reached the designated position. The station's main assembly hall was already filled with representatives from hundreds of species, all watching on screens as the small human battleship floated before them. Marcus began his broadcast. AEGIS displayed the evidence on every screen in the assembly hall and sent it streaming across public networks throughout the galaxy. Sabotaged human colony ships shown in Council engineering reports. Messages between Council members discussing how to manage the human expansion problem. Economic policies specifically designed to make human worlds dependent on alien trade. Decades of lies, manipulation, and quiet warfare against humanity. The assembly hall erupted in shocked voices. Some species seemed genuinely surprised they had not been part of the conspiracy. Others looked angry that their secrets were being exposed. A few council members tried to shout denials, but the evidence was overwhelming. Marcus spoke over the chaos. For 70 years, my grandfather fought to prove that humans deserve to be treated as equals. You called him a pirate. You hunted him. You tried to destroy his ship. This Darg. Why? Because he refused to accept that humanity should remain small and weak for your convenience. Chancellor Vex's voice cut through, cold and final. You have made your point, human. But you have also signed your death warrant. All ships, terminate the Defiant immediately. 20 warships opened fire at once. Aegis, now, Marcus shouted. The resonance pulse activated. The Defiant screamed as massive amounts of energy ripped through its systems. A wave of electromagnetic force exploded outward in all directions. Every ship within range, all 20 escorts, dozens of patrol vessels, even the station's defensive platforms, suddenly went dark. Their engines died. Their weapons powered down. Their lights flickered and failed. The Defiant shook violently. Explosions erupted across multiple decks. The main display shattered. Sparks rained down around Marcus as systems failed, one after another. Hull integrity critical, Aegis said, its voice distorted and breaking. Life support failing. Main power offline. Captain. We are. Stay with me, Aegis. Marcus worked frantically at the controls, trying to reroute emergency power. Through the smoke and sparks, Marcus saw something unexpected on the backup sensors. Not all the ships had been disabled. Several vessels from species that had not been part of the conspiracy were approaching not to attack, but to shield the Defiant from the disabled warships as they drifted helplessly. A communication came through on emergency channels. It was from a Kragath captain. Human vessel. We witnessed your transmission. Some of us suspected the Council was corrupt, but we had no proof. You have given the galaxy truth. We will protect you while you make repairs. More ships joined small vessels, independent traders, even a few military ships whose captains had been horrified by the evidence. They formed a protective ring around the dying Defiant. Marcus worked for hours, using every engineering trick he knew. AEGs had been badly damaged, but its core systems survived. Slowly, piece by piece, Marcus brought the ship back to life. When the station's power finally returned, the political situation had completely changed. The evidence had spread across the entire galaxy. Protests erupted on a dozen worlds. Species that had been victims of similar council manipulation demanded investigations. Several council members resigned. Others were arrested by their own governments. Chancellor Vex sent one final transmission to Marcus. You have won, human. The council as it existed is finished. But do not think this makes you a hero. You have disrupted centuries of galactic order. Marcus replied simply, Good. Your order was built on keeping people weak. The galaxy needs something better. Thanks for watching. The day Line 1 signed. 2 days later, the Defiant limped away from the Grand Assembly Station. The ship was barely functional, held together by emergency repairs and Marcus's stubborn determination. But it was flying. Aegis, what's our status? Marcus asked. Functional, Captain. Barely. We will need months of proper repairs. But we survived. Your grandfather would be. He would be proud. Marcus smiled, exhausted but satisfied. Through the viewport, he could see human ships approaching a small fleet sent from Earth to escort him home. For the first time in 70 years, humans were being treated as equals in galactic space. Aegis, my grandfather spent his whole life fighting. What do we do now? The AI's voice carried something that sounded almost like hope. Now, Captain, we rest. We repair. And when the Defiant is whole again, we decide what kind of galaxy we want to help build. Your grandfather showed them humans could fight. You showed them humans could win. What comes next is up to you. Marcus looked at the approaching human fleet. Then, back at the damaged bridge of the legendary Battleship. He was no longer just an engineer who fixed satellites. He was the captain of the Terran Defiant, the man who had stood against the entire Galactic Council and survived.